Hello everyone and happy December to you all, and welcome to a series that I will be trying out on my channel for the first time ever. I want to do an advent calendar kind of upload schedule for my YouTube channel this year, which means one video will be posted every single day leading up until Christmas Eve. In Sweden we celebrate Christmas on the 24th of December, so that's what my plan is really looking like at the moment. There will be one video up until the 24th. And perhaps there will be one on the 25th as well. I can't guarantee anything. It depends on when Billboard will release their year-end charts for 2024. Because what every video will be about during this month is basically the top 20 highest charting songs of each year from 2000 up until 2023 and potentially 2024 that I will be trying to rank on a tier list that I have in front of me today. And I have all the cover arts for the year 2000 at the bottom here, as you can see. And these are the ones that I want to talk about today. And then, of course, at the end of it all, or before, you can leave in the comments your opinions on all of these songs, or just a few select ones that you decide you want to focus on. In my case, I wasn't actually aware of all of these songs that I've listened to now from this year. Some of them I haven't heard in an eternity. Some of them I've listened to a lot and maybe still do, and some of them I've actually never heard before, and it was my first time listening to them. But I've decided to give every song a fair chance to be judged by my personal preference in a fair manner. So I've decided that minimum of 5 plays is what I've given each song on the list today, and that is exactly what I've done. And now I have made up my mind of what I think of these songs, and you're about to hear exactly that. So I think everything is pretty clear about that. I do have the standard tier list shape of S, A, B, D, C, D, E, F, because I couldn't figure out any clever names or anything that kind of describe. Instead, I'll just talk about the songs and probably try and make my thoughts as clear as possible in that way. Anyway, I will be starting from position number 20 up until the highest charting song of the year, and at placement number 20 is the song Back at One by Brian McKnight, a song that I had honestly not heard for probably 20 years. But when I started listening to it, I had this vague memory of like, yeah, I do recognize this song, and wow, it's actually kind of really catchy and enjoyable. So I'm very fond of this tune, actually. It's a very kind of cheesy and I mean, the song is quite gimmicky in terms of its hook. It's this kind of counting approach that it has to really try and be memorable. But for some reason, I just fall for it, and I do find it quite enjoyable. And I think his vocal performance is a part of that, and the whole backdrop as well. It's a soft, enjoyable R&B tune with a warm approach and just an enjoyable manner altogether. It's mellow, it's sing-along friendly for sure, and it's rather sweet. And I'm placing Brian McKnight in the B tier with for Back at One, basically, which I do think is a very enjoyable song, and I've actually returned to it more than 5 times. I can guarantee that after listening to these songs again. It's a nice little find to go back to, I have to be honest. Enjoyable song there, not anything groundbreaking in my opinion, but it is a bit of fun to listen to, and I do quite enjoy the mood that it brings. So B tier for Brian and Back at One. Next up, it's Christina Aguilera here on the image, and this is an artist that I'm usually quite fond of. Like, I think she has a lot of great songs that I really do enjoy, but What a Girl Wants is unfortunately not one of those. I see what it's going for, I understand the concept of it, the hook is catchy, and it's certainly a song of its time. It sounds very much like something that would be released in 99 or 2000, which, you know, it is as well. But to me, this really comes across with that kind of vibe. It almost sounds like a nursery rhyme to me. It's that kind of hook that just, yeah, I get that it's catchy, but I get kind of frustrated listening to it as well. So it's not particularly enjoyable for me. And that's really all I take with me after listening to the song. I don't think the production stands out massively. I think her vocal performance is rather uninteresting, especially for being her. I'm sure I will talk more about her other songs in future videos in this series. This one is kind of a blip to start on, I'd say. I'll put this in the E category, personally. So yeah. Next up, Janet Jackson. This is the song Doesn't Really Matter, which was featured on the soundtrack of, I've actually written down the movie here. I haven't seen this movie, but it was called Nutty Professor 2. which is not a movie I've seen. I don't intend to see it, and I also do not intend to listen to this song again because, oh my, this was a rough listen for me. Every single time that I heard it, I felt it was melodically unremarkable. It was very wordy, which kind of made it very messy in its delivery. I felt like the vocals were so laid back and the beat was kind of loud. So, I mean, that kind of everything just blended into one and didn't really spark a lot of interest in me. I think the song has this kind of ceaseless repetition to it, feels uneventful because of it as well. And yeah, I guess when they really wanted to spice something up, they threw in a very random key change towards the end to just kind of like, okay, let's make sure something happens. But really all it felt to me was that it feels forced, and it does that every single time I hear it. And Janet, I will not be returning to this song, but hopefully you have other greater songs that I will talk about in the future of these videos. For now though, it's a rough start in our relationship in this series, I suppose. But yeah, that's an F tier song for me. I do not enjoy it whatsoever. And Madonna's song Music. Now Madonna is of course she's a very diverse musician, artist. She has a bit of everything. She has a few S songs, in my opinion, but she also has this, which is an F song. Like absolutely, in my opinion, this could be the worst hit that Madonna has. I'm using that word because I know she's made a lot of songs that aren't very popular, that probably shouldn't be very popular either. But this is a very famous song by Madonna, and I find it to be simply dreadful, in all honesty. I really can't stand this song. I think the song is created in such a weird approach. It's production-wise, it doesn't really feel like it should sound the way that it sounds because it's Madonna. It feels like it should sound expensive and polished, but this song is all over the place. There are loud sound effects just bursting into the soundstage from everywhere. There are a lot of just clashing inputs in here that don't work together. And also, like the vocal input that Madonna has in the song is very limited and feels rather lazy and uninspired, and it doesn't really feel like they wanted to make something that's melodically engaging with this. It's simply a repetitive beat with some words on top of it in a very tired manner, and I can't connect with it whatsoever. I think it's seriously really poor songwriting mainly, and also production on this track. So no, that's an F tier song from Madonna. Hopefully won't be more of those in future videos. I'm sure there will be more Madonna songs going forward. I hope there will be one in, what could that be, 2005 maybe? We'll see. I haven't taken a look at the charts in advance to really see which songs are on here, but yeah, this one's in F for me. Next up, Pink, which is of course who is a very famous artist. Of course, this is the song "There You Go," which really is one of the first songs that I like. If I think back of Pink's discography, this is one of the older songs. Of course, I'm not sure how big of a thing Pink was before this song, but this one, it's not really like the same kind of music that I associate Pink with, but this is of course where it all used to be, and this song has a lot of attitude. It's very assertive. I do enjoy those aspects. I think the beat is quite punchy and just enjoyable in that regard. The song is rather energetic. It has a drive to it, so I can kind of appreciate a lot of aspects about it, but I just also had to be honest and claim that it's not really a song that I think really would ever appeal to me. I understand why it appeals to others, but for me, it just kind of trundles along and I don't really get invested in it, and I find it to be quite repetitive. So I never seek this one out, but I do understand the appeal of it, so that's why I will place it in D. I think that this song has a lot of things going for it that I think could be admired. I just don't ever seek out to listen to this song and subject myself to it, so that's where I will place it in the D category. Next up, something that absolutely won't end up in the D category. This is Kryptonite by Three Doors Down. And if you know me, you know my kind of music preferences, I'm sure. And alt rock from the 90s and the early 2000s, sign me up for that. I think Kryptonite is also a top tier example of how to just make it work really, really well. The guitar work in this song I think is stunning. I do like the contrast that it provides. The choruses really have this rhythmic intensity in them to make a catchy hook, while the vocals are obviously as well compelling, but the guitar work in those choruses follow this very distinct and distinguished rhythm that really drives home the actual hook of the song, while the verses have this more bright and full kind of guitar delivery with the more kind of tabulated and finger picking approach that it has. It's a nice contrast, and I do like the dynamic shifts of the song. I think there's a nice continuation after the second chorus where the guitar takes over on a little bit of like a mini solo, I suppose. But yeah, it's just convincing guitar work throughout the song. I think the vocals are compelling and strong, and the percussion is very prominent in this song, which I'm a fan of as well. Yeah, it's just a song that really maintains the energy, and I think that both the choruses and the verses are very memorable in this song, and everything comes together so nicely that I think it's an A-tier song. Now, next up is something that I would never consider to be an A-tier song, but maybe that's just because I am the way that I am. But Thong Song by Sisqo is absolutely not something that I would ever seek out to listen to under any circumstances ever. I do understand why others would, because I do hear that it could be considered quite catchy. It's one of these hooks that really just relies on kind of like a repetition in a feedback manner that could stick very easily. There's like a typical kind of bounce within this song that I understand. But to me, all I get from it is a very plodding beat. It sounds uneventful to me. I think that everything sounds quite clustered in the soundstage. I don't think the vocals are particularly interesting either. There's just like a lot of mumbling in the song, I think, and the hook, even though it might have a bounce to it, I don't connect with that bounce. I'm not in a bouncy mood when I hear this song, and to me, it's simply an F again. So yeah, I'll place you down here, Sisqo. I do think that it has something more going for it than the other two songs I placed there. So I'll just put it at the top tier of the left. But yeah, no, not for me. Now next up is Destiny's Child, a group that I'm sure I will talk quite a bit about in these videos. They were of course huge in the early 2000s. And I will actually be talking about them twice in today's video. But the first time I will be talking about the song Jumpin', Jumpin', which is unfortunately not Destiny's Child's best showcase of their abilities and of their repertoire, because this song is unfortunately melodically quite dire in my opinion. I think there's a ceaseless repetition to this song that just never ends. The vocals just kind of blend into the beat. They don't stand out particularly. Which is interesting. Like Destiny's Child usually like all about vocal harmonization, but the vocals here don't really contribute a lot of contrast or shimmer to an otherwise quite bland track, in my opinion. There are no real dynamics. I can't really distinguish anything in the instrumentation because I think that everything just blends into one, and all of these inputs just kind of land on top of each other instead of working together and creating a huge soundscape. It's I can't believe this, but it's another F. I'm just stacking this category now, I see. But no, I don't get any enjoyment out of this song. I understand there are basically two words that I remember from it, and it's jumpin', jumpin'. And I get it. Like that kind of descending manner with that rhythm could be catchy, but the song overall, it's just too much of a blend into nothingness for me to enjoy. So no. Again, no. However, it's time for a yes. Aaliyah, Try Again. This is what, like, when I think of the greatest R&B songs that I know, this one's absolutely up there, and it's up very high on the list. I think this song has a distinct beat. I think the vocal stands out, even though that it's quite low in the register. That works with the contrasting beat that it has behind it, because the beat consists of both very punchy percussion and a palpable drive, but also a lot of brightness from its detailing, which creates a lot of lively motion in the song that I think the vocals balance out really nicely. The vocals also feel quite purposeful, they're engaging to me, and even though altogether it's quite a laid-back tune, I also think that it's highly, highly enjoyable and highly engaging. It's an A song, easy for me. Just wonderfully constructed, and the actual delivery of it, the production really hits, and it's just tons of fun to listen to. So high remarks for Aaliyah and Try Again. I have to say that very enjoyable song, and one that I return to quite frequently, if I'm honest. So yay. Now, next up is Higher by Creed. This is ranked number 11 on the Billboard year-end charts of 2000. And I've always had this association with Creed that I think they're just fine. I mean, I do really enjoy like this kind of pop rock, alternative rock of the late 90s and early 2000s, as I've already said. But they never really broke further than that, in my opinion. They don't have these songs that just stand out massively melodically or instrumentally. Everything is just quite competent with their song, I think. The instrumentation is strong in the song, I'd say, but it also feels a bit safe and predictable and formulaic in terms of its actual structure and approach, both melodically and instrumentally, which works. I mean, it's an accessible tune and very enjoyable, and I mean that shows with their charting position of this song. Of course, it's a song that most people can just get behind and enjoy because it's very accessible, I suppose, is really the key word. Doesn't leave a huge impression of me, but I still enjoy it when I listen to it. And I think that's just kind of summarizes what the C category is all about. So a C for Creed, I suppose. I think it fits quite nicely in there. Next up is Toni Braxton. He Wasn't Man Enough. And Toni Braxton, how I have various opinions on various of her songs. She's very up and down for me. She has a few real standouts, and she has a few blips, and He Wasn't Man Enough is more towards the latter. This is quite uninteresting to me, and I think a lot of what it really comes down to is how low the vocals are in this song. She sings in a very low manner that kind of just doesn't make the song stand out. It doesn't engage any liveliness into the track. Even though the beat has a nice groove to it, I don't think that she ever elevates this song and makes it interesting. It just kind of trundles along. It's a bit plodding. And I'd say that it's certainly a D tier song. It's also less assertive and less engaging than There You Go by Pink, but still it has quite a nice beat that I can enjoy, and I wouldn't really just automatically turn it off when it comes on. So I think the D category is a perfect fit for it. And yeah, that's really it. And next up, Matchbox 20, a band that really, like, I wasn't aware of how popular they actually were, because if you look at the Billboard charts, you will find this group appearing a lot. And that's kind of cool, honestly. Like, I don't mind that. I think Matchbox 20 are decent. I don't think they're outstanding, but I can click with some of their songs. And this is Bent here, a song that I never really associated with being one of Matchbox 20's biggest hits, but it was number 9 on the year-end charts. So here I am talking about it. And Bent is an intriguing song. It has some of the worst mixing, I think, of any of the songs that Matchbox 20 have released, which is really off-putting. However, it also has a very kind of chopped up approach in terms of its structure, because the verses carry a lot of suspense to them. I always get a bit engaged and intrigued when listening to the verses of this song. I think the vocals are quite neat here. The instrumentation works. And then they lead into choruses that feel just very uninspired and rather weak and feeble and just overly smooth, which is a weird contrast compared to what you've established in the song earlier. So I don't really connect with that. Yeah, it's a strange song altogether, I have to be honest. I don't really know where to put it. I think it's just gonna belong in the D category because it has a bit of everything. I'll place it between those two because the verses are quite nice. The mixing is so off though, which is very distracting. And the choruses don't really engage me at all. And the song is, if I'm going to be completely honest, I find it to be rather forgettable, which is, you know, obviously a shame. But apparently back in 2000, people were all over it. So what do I know? But yeah, yeah, the song belongs in the D category for me anyway. I don't seek it out ever. But not an awful listen, really. And next up, we see the little outline of Texas here on the artwork. This is the song Amazed by Lonestar, which is a, you know, kind of like a pop country ballad, really, which is, it's really sweet. It's very, very cheesy, but sometimes I can click with cheesy, you know, just like with Back at One earlier on. But this is a different kind of cheesy. This is guitar-driven, has a very warm instrumentation. It feels somewhat wholesome to me altogether, so I do enjoy it quite a bit because of that. Presentation is nice. Everything just comes together quite naturally. The chorus is quite strong, and and memorable. So I think that it just belongs right next to Higher by Creed, doesn't it? I'll just place them right next to each other because they have both the same strengths almost. Like they're similarly appealing to me, and I could just listen to these two together and just have a fine time. Not outstanding or anything, just enjoyable enough, I think. And next up, speaking of cheesy, I mean Savage Garden are here, and Savage Garden are very hit and miss for me. Sometimes I absolutely adore the songs that they put out, and sometimes they put out songs like I Knew I Loved You, which is oh my, it's it's so on the nose and so overly sweet towards the listener, but at the same time, I think melodically it just flows very naturally on top of the chords. The vocals are, of course, quite nice because Darren Hayes' falsetto really hits in this song. I think it's strong, it's convincing. The beat is quite head nod inducing, but the song is not much more than that, and I do find it a bit of of, of a tiresome listen, if I'm going to be completely honest. It's also very predictable in terms of its structure. It just flows and goes to each section the way you expect it to. And the key change towards the end is really the final straw for me, because that's when I just check out and I'm like, yeah, they got the whole jackpot of just how to make I guess, the cheesiest song you could. Still, there are redeemable and enjoyable factors in this song, so I guess it's another D tier song. I'll just place it there. I can't be bothered to like rank them within the same category. It's going to be too difficult. They all belong in there, I'd say. And next up, it's Destiny's Child again. I told you I was talking about them twice in today's video, and Say My Name is the second song, which is of course a super catchy hook. It has a lot of vocal harmonies, this song. The beat is quite consistent. It's not top tier in terms of polishing, I'd say, but the hook is there. It's an enjoyable listen. I do nod my head along to it, and I think it's quite fun. I think also, though, that the vocal harmonies are definitely overdoing it in this song. I don't think they need to be as expansive and kind of showcasing like as they are, which detracts a bit from my enjoyment of it. But still, it's a nice listen. It is a bit on the long side. I think that it doesn't really know when it should wrap up, and it just keeps going for a bit too long. But overall, nice beat, nice to just go along with it. The choruses are absolutely catchy and memorable and get me invested. Verses maybe not as much, but still it's fine altogether. It's another C category song. I'll place it here next to the others. I don't know which of these three songs I prefer, but they're all just in there. So yeah, that's where Say My Name will end up. And next up, it's Everything You Want by Vertical Horizon, which, I mean, I gotta be honest, I did not know that this band had a hit this big. I've listened quite a bit to Vertical Horizon, at least this album. Like, this is the album that I really am familiar with from them. I did not know they had a hit from it that peaked, or that ended up ended up in 5th place on the year-end charts of 2000. But here we are, and Everything You Want is a really nice tune. I have to be honest and say that I think it's a very pleasant listening experience altogether. I do really like those verses where they have this kind of static feedback being the core instrumentation that establishes rhythm in the verses. And then they lead to choruses which are smooth, mellow, but still have a little bit of like a drive in the guitar, and the vocals are very catchy here. I think the chorus is sing-along friendly. It's again very accessible, but it's managed to just click with me a bit more than both Higher and Amazed, I suppose. And I think the instrumentation is definitely highlighted by very competent mixing in the song. It's a B tier song for me. Very enjoyable, very enjoyable. And that brings us on to Joe, an artist that I have to be honest, I did not know who he was before going into this video. I did not know this song either. It's called I Wanna Know. It's very much like, I feel like I've heard this song before, but I probably haven't. It just sounds a lot like the R&B songs that I have heard from this time. And there's nothing really wrong with that. I think this is very inoffensive. It's just a nice little groove to it. It's vibey, it's enjoyable, it's chill, laid back, relaxing. The vocals are decent, I guess. I don't think he stands out that massively, but it's just a nice little laid-back tune that I don't really have any problems with. Do I seek it out to listen to it ever? No, not particularly so, but I'm just not that into R&B maybe, unless it really stands out to me. I still think, just because, I mean, it is my personal list, so maybe if I were to be a bit generous, I'd place him in the C tier, but I will be placing him at the very top of D tier here, because I just don't particularly seek it out. It is somewhat enjoyable for the time being when I listen to it, but I kind of zone out a little bit as well. It's neat backing music. I do prefer it over the Savage Garden tune, for instance, but I don't think it can really be compared to a Say My Name or an Amazed or a Higher. I don't think it's on that level, so I'll just place it in here in between. It's a D plus or a C minus. You make you decide what you think about it. 3 songs left to go, and 2 of them are, of course, by the same artist. You can kind of see like the artworks are a bit similar. They are, of course, by Santana, and first up is Maria Maria, featuring the product G&B. And Maria Maria is a classic. It's a banger. It's so infectious. The beat is phenomenally fun. I think the bass work is really great, and of course the guitar, both the electric and the acoustic inputs, really combine nicely to create a very engaging soundstage. I think the vocals are really memorable and they stand out. The dynamic that is being established from this vocal input is quite compelling, and I just have a ton of fun listening to this song. It's sing-along friendly, it sticks in your mind instantly, it has a killer beat, and it definitely has some of the most fun guitar melodies in the, I guess, the modern day pop music scene. So Maria Maria goes straight up in the A tier category, and it fits quite nicely in there, but it is ultimately overshadowed by Smooth, which is the first song that in this in this series that I will be placing in the S category, because Smooth is one of my all-time favorite pop songs, I guess, or I don't know, should you call it a pop song? Anyway, it's one of my all-time favorite high-charting Billboard songs, I suppose. I guess we'll find out how many songs I will be placing in this category as the series goes along, but this will be the first one. The guitar chorus, like the solo that goes for the chorus, that melody is just instantly recognizable. I think it works so well on this beat. The instrumentation is compelling. I do really love the percussion of this track. The bass works great as well. The vocal performance by Rob Thomas is a very, out there and a bit funny one, but I think I really appreciate that, because it makes it very, very fun to sing along to and try to kind of replicate the vocals by Rob Thomas in this song. It's just a fun song altogether. It has a lot of energy, a very, very foot-tapping inducing rhythm to it, and everything comes together so well in this song. I think it's stunning. So yeah, S for Smooth and for Stunning and for Santana. It belongs in there, I'd say. It kind of would have made sense to end the video talking about Smooth, but Smooth was actually not #1 on the year-end charts for Billboard this year. That was Faith Hill with the song Breathe, and I have to be honest, this is quite a nice tune. I think this is very much kind of like a musician's type of song. It feels very complete instrumentally. I think it flows very naturally in its verses, but the chorus is obviously what really hits, but it just feels skillfully planned out, arranged, and executed. Everything comes together. I get a very competent and fulfilling delivery from it. I think the vocals are stunning. It's just a very strong and just solid altogether pop country ballad with a gorgeous instrumentation and a strong vocal performance, and it should absolutely be in the B tier and probably at the very top of it. I know I don't really rank them within the tiers, but when there's an outstanding quality to something, I want to say that this is a B plus. So I'll just place it at the very top there. This is not a song that I seek out to listen to that often, and I guess that's why I hold it back from the A tier, because I feel like for the A tier or the S tier, it has to be a song that I consistently return to and enjoy every single time. Breathe is not one of those that I seek out, but every time I hear it, I'm like, this is good. It's convincing. I do enjoy it. Very nicely done. And that is my first tier list of December. Please let me know what you think, and if you want me to keep going with this series, of course, regardless of what you say, I probably will, because I've already planned out to make one video every day for this month. But hopefully you'll stick around and enjoy this series. And if you don't enjoy it, well, just ignore all of my spamming in your subscription feeds, I suppose, because there will be a lot of videos coming this month. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please let me know, and also let me know what you thought of these, what you think of these songs, and which one's your favorite. Maybe you can create a top 5 if you don't want to include every song, and maybe now going back to listen to these songs, maybe you've done that as well. Maybe you found some old gems that you forgot about. At least I did that. Because I haven't listened to Try Again by Aaliyah for a long time, and now I just remembered like how great it was. So I've been having a bit on repeat lately, I have to be honest. But yeah, this has been tons of fun. I'll be back tomorrow talking about the songs from 2001. So please join me for that when it comes out, and have a good one until then. Take care and bye bye.